Sports Southwest.
Shot clock at
2 years ago in College Station, Andrea Riley hit one of the biggest shots of her career.
Huge three with 6.6 to go. Timeout.
Today she leads the 15th ranked Oklahoma State Cowgirls into College Station, looking for another upset against number 8 Texas A&M and junior center Danielle Adams. It's Big 12 Women's Hoops next. College Station, Texas. This afternoon, 15th ranked Oklahoma State on the road. 5-1 in the Big 12. The Texas A&M Aggies ranked number 8, but they lost 2 of their last 3 games. And welcome courtside, Brent Stover alongside Brenda Van Langen. The Cowgirls have won 2 straight. They beat Missouri by 15 on Tuesday night. And the combination of Andrea Riley and Tegan Cunningham just gets better and better.
Well, everybody knows about Andrea Riley, number 2 in the country in scoring, number 3 in assists. But the 2 of them together are the number 1 scoring tandem in the country. Tegan Cunningham has improved her scoring 8 points per game, playing with a lot more confidence. And Kurt Butke told us before the game the key to today is for Tegan Cunningham to get her points against the Aggies.
For Texas A&M, their leading scorer, Tanisha Smith, but she gets opponent's best defender, and it's really helped out their combo of Tyra White and Danielle Adams.
Well, they have been so explosive offensively overall this season. It's because of the scoring from a lot of different players. Tyra White has 3 games in a row, double-figure scoring with a season high against Baylor in that loss earlier this week. Danielle Adams, a triple-double last weekend against Texas Tech, and that's part of what makes A&M so difficult to play this year, is because they have so many different weapons offensively.
So it's A&M and Oklahoma State, a couple of top 15 teams. The Cowgirls lead the all-time series 20-17, but A&M has had a stranglehold recently. They've taken 4 straight, 11 of 12, and here in College Station, they won by 30 last year. Aggies, Cowgirls is yours next. Big 12 Women's Hoops on this Sunday from College Station, Texas, Reed Arena. Number 15, Oklahoma State, number 8. Texas A&M. The visitors from Stillwater, they line up with that great combo that we talked about off the top. Andrea Riley, Tegan Cunningham. Cunningham, number 7 in the conference in scoring. Andrea Riley, 26 points a game, number 2 in the country. Also one of the best in assists in the NCAA. The Texas A&M lineup, number 8 team in the nation, with 4 guards. A bit of a surprise to start here today with Carter being entered into Gary Blair's lineup with Tyra White, Tanisha Smith, and Sydney Colson. Adams in the middle, the great junior college transfer, averages 15 points and 6 rebounds a game. So it's Oklahoma State and Texas A&M here from Reed Arena. And Brenda, how about your keys? We start with the visitors and Kurt Butke's team.
Roll it up. The role players have to come to play. Andrea Riley knows what to expect, but the others, Tegan Cunningham, Precious Robinson, need to step up on the road. And no paint zone. That's defensively. Keep A&M in front. Keep them out of the paint. Stop the dribble drive to the basket.
5th year for Kurt Butke. 7th year for Gary Blair, and how about his keys?
They need to find their offense back. They're averaging 79 points a game on the season, but the last 4 games, and 2 of those losses on the road, they're only averaging 64 points, so 15 less than their average. They need to find their offense back and limit Riley and Cunningham, that number 1 scoring duo in the country, to their average. Don't let either one of them go off. You can't have Cunningham having a 20-plus point game. You've got to control the offense for those 2 players.
Kurt Butke's Oklahoma State squad, number 2 in the conference at 5-1. You see his numbers in Stillwater. Team 17-3 overall, picked 9th preseason, and they have certainly overachieved if you go by that. Now, this is quite a stretch. He gets number 8, followed by number 6, followed by number 11. Meantime, for Gary Blair, I mentioned They've lost 2 of the last 3. He said, I'm not pleased. We've had 3 road tests against Big 12 South opponents, and we are 1-2 so far, including that loss last time out, an 8-point setback to Baylor. And he's displeased with the inconsistencies, and still with some of the struggles in recent games on offense, still number 1 in the Big 12 in scoring and number 2 in field goal percentage.
I think it's going to be interesting to see with this 4-guard lineup, how does A&M score, because they've got all their scorers on the court to start. They usually like to bring Adams and Carter off the bench to get that offensive boost. Well, now they have all their scorers on the court to start the game. How does that affect A&M?
A quick turnover. Sydney Carter being inserted. The sophomore, DeSoto, Texas, wears number 4, the top defender, and she gets Riley here to start.
And that's why she's in the starting lineup, is so she can match up and make it tough for Andrea Riley every time she puts up the basketball.
Riley misfires on her first shot. 30 seconds in from College Station.
Oklahoma State going to show several different looks defensively, the 2-3 zone to start.
Carter left it short on the rebound. Last touch by Cunningham. And how about Cunningham at 18 points a game with nearly 8 rebounds?
Well, last year coming in as a junior college transfer, not really taking ownership of the team on her shoulders, didn't play with a lot of confidence. She's a different player this year and a very important player for Oklahoma State's success. A little ISO game, 2-player game with Riley and Cunningham on that right side didn't work for them, so Riley goes to work.
7 to shoot here, lost it out of bounds, and it goes A&M's way.
You know, Kurt Buckey scripts out the first several plays of the game. He told us before the game we may have our first 10 plays scripted, and we know Andrea Riley's going to take the shot on 7 of those. Everybody knows where she's going to shoot from and where they need to go to get the rebound.
Sydney Colson runs the point. Skip pass over to Carter, and now they work it to White. Rims out. Byford gets the rebound.
So far, good defense by Oklahoma State, making A&M shoot from the perimeter. And to just follow up on that, obviously, they don't know exactly where the rebounds are going to go, but they know Oklahoma State where they need to be on the court if Andrea Riley and where she is shooting from on the court.
Tanisha Smith, open floor, pull up, back iron, and it goes down.
And they need Tanisha Smith to get going. She is the leading scorer on this team, but she has been in a little bit of a slump the last couple of games. Tyra White, Danielle Adams have stepped up, but they really need Tanisha Smith to lead the way with her scoring.
2-0 Aggies, 2 minutes deep. Riley knifes through, tried to kick it out, knocked away by Smith. That's Smith up ahead. Tanisha Smith to the rim. Couldn't finish. White corrals it. Fresh shot clock, A&M. Adams wants it. Got it.
And that's what Adams brings to this team. She's starting at the 5 position, but she's so versatile. They don't have Buchanan in the starting lineup today. Buchanan could never hit that shot, but Gary Blair wanted to start with his scorers on the court, get their offense untracked.
Danielle Adams, Big 12 Player of the Week. The triple-double against Texas Tech. The block out here as we go back to that last possession for the Aggies.
Smith got her hands on the ball, went out in front, tried a little double clutch move in the lane, but then look at Adams back here, out behind the play, coming in. Nobody picks her up after the entire defense got back in transition to be in the paint to stop the initial break. They didn't find Adams on that secondary break.
Riley left it short. Rebound out of bounds to Texas A&M. Not a quick start so far for Riley as you get a look at Precious Robinson.
Robinson has been big on the boards, the junior college transfer who won a national championship at Central Arizona last year. She's a big rebounder for them. All these players around Andrea Riley understand their roles.
Kurt Budke told us great opportunity for players like Robinson getting their first crack here at one of the tough environments in the country. Another offensive board for A&M, but a turnover on the travel.
They have A&M when A&M has to set up in their half-court offense. They're looking it over. Gary Blair is trying to shout instructions from the sideline, but it's like, what defense are they in? What do we need to play? And there's a little hesitancy right now for A&M offensively.
5-0 Aggies. Riley 0 for her first 3. Rises here, misfires. Cunningham on the weak side.
And every time Riley has shot, it has been from the perimeter. They are making her shoot tough twos. They're going to try to get a hand in Riley's face every time she shoots the basketball. They know she's going to get her shots, but they want to make it difficult.
Cunningham with a chance. And that one spins off. Robinson went up and draws contact. Smith picks up her first foul.
And that's what I'm talking about, Brent. When Oklahoma State has these plays scripted, they know to go to the boards. And Precious Robinson has been a monster on the boards, averaging over 8 rebounds a game. But she knows when it's time for Cunningham to shoot, when it's time for Riley to shoot, and she needs to go get the board.
Byford had her shot partially blocked. Cunningham tracks it down. Robinson slices inside.
Robinson can match the athleticism that A&M brings to the court, and a good hustle play by both Robinson and Cunningham to track down that offensive board to get another chance.
First bucket comes nearly 4 minutes in for the Cowgirls. Carter in the corner.
That's that offense that A&M typically gets off the bench, and Sydney Carter, the sophomore, a great jump shooter. She's shooting 39% from three-point range on the season.
She started today. Her coach says she's the best sixth man in the league.
A&M shifted their defenses. Riley got into the offense that time. And again, another tough shot for Riley, but she tracks down her own shot.
Gary Blair said we have to limit these second chance opportunities, and the Cowgirls have gotten them, but haven't taken advantage early. Smith on the break.
And that's where A&M gets their points back. I said one of the keys is for A&M to find their offense. Well, when their defense can create offense, that's where they'll find it. They don't want to have to set up every time against whatever OSU is throwing at them defensively. They want to score in transition.
How about the start for the Aggies? 10-2.
Started on both ends of the court. They've made it tough every time Andrea Riley puts the ball up, and they've gotten their transition game going.
Cunningham takes the lob, couldn't finish. Smith on the run out for the Aggies. Carter to the glass. Draws a whistle. And a good attack by the sophomore from DeSoto, Texas, who averages 7 points a game, hits from 39% from beyond the arc. In the corner, Carter. Quick start for the home team. 10-2 Aggies. 5 minutes in from College Station. 10-2 Texas A&M with the lead. And you've talked in the early portion of this game, Brenda, about all the great JUCO players we have out here today.
Well, besides Andrea Riley, these are the 4 starters for Oklahoma State. Each of them very accomplished at the junior college level. Garrison, number 2 in the country in scoring when she was at Carl Albert. Tegan Cunningham was the all-time leading scorer at Seward County, and Precious Robinson and her role on Central Arizona, they won a national championship going undefeated. Megan Byford led the nation in field goal percentage, so each one of them a major contributor. Not as many junior college players over Gary Blair's time, but 2 very effective ones. Danielle Adams, the junior college player of the year last year, and Tanisha Smith, who was an All-American at UA Fort Smith. But when you look over Gary Blair's time at A&M, he has not relied on the junior college players, where that's been something that Kurt Butke has done throughout his time at Oklahoma State. And Kurt Butke won 4 national championships at Trinity Valley as a junior college coach. So he's very familiar with bringing in players and only having them for 1 or 2 years and making them successful. And so that's been a big part of his method of operation at Oklahoma State.
He's won a lot of games in Stillwater. 17-3 coming in here today. 440 career wins through all his stops for Kurt Butke. 11-2 game. Oklahoma State's Andrea Riley 0 for her first 5.
Well, Tanisha Smith is defending Tegan Cunningham. That entire play, they were trying to get Cunningham open for the shot. She couldn't get open, so Andrea Riley has to take the shot.
And here Carter at the midcourt stripe gets tripped up. Riley missing a moment ago, now 0 for 6.
We talked about Tanisha Smith needing to get going offensively. She is averaging 16 points a game, but she has the task of defending Tegan Cunningham on the other end, and she's doing a terrific job.
Tried to drop it down. Byford got in the passing lane. A&M retains the basketball and a travel. on Tyra White.
Previously, as I mentioned, if you watch away from the ball, let's freeze it right here. Here's Tegan Cunningham, and here's Tanisha Smith defending her. And as they try to run Cunningham off of screens the entire play before that, she just couldn't get open. Tanisha Smith was running around the screen. She was defending. Andrea Riley was dribbling the ball for 25 seconds of that shot clock, waiting for Cunningham to get open, and she couldn't get open because of Smith's defense.
Cowgirls 1 of 11 to begin. Here's Tony Young and another travel. Tony Young off the bench, freshman, Del City, Oklahoma. It's 5 points a game, very good athlete. Turnover numbers early. Again, they try to drop it down for Adams, and the pass not there.
Well, they're trying to use Tanisha Smith at that high post area, which is a good area to attack the 2-3 zone, but she's forced it a little bit. And Oklahoma State squeezing. We said no paint zone. They don't want A&M to get in the paint.
Riley off the bounce to the deck. It'll stay with the Cowgirls. I mentioned Riley 0 for her first 6, 2 quick fouls as well.
Well, and she typically doesn't get into foul trouble because she protects herself defensively.
Cunningham off the inbound, too strong. Cleared by Carter.
Riley understands that she needs to be on the court 40 minutes a game for Oklahoma State for them to be successful. So she gets out of the way a lot of times defensively so she doesn't get into foul trouble, and she's not going to get taken off the court just because she has 2 fouls.
Another travel here on Tanisha Smith. And that's turnover number 5 on A&M.
A little bit unusual. A&M takes pretty good care of the ball this year. Only 16 turnovers a game, but they force more turnovers than anybody in the Big 12, 6.2 turnover margin. On the other side, Oklahoma State takes care of the ball. They are the best in the Big 12. A big part of that because Andrea Riley has the ball in her hands most of the time, doesn't give the ball up.
Cunningham rises and hits off the window.
So the question is, what gives today in that matchup? And that was a big bucket for OSU and Cunningham.
Had to get something going. Now just 2 of 13, 7-point game. White on the baseline, found some space. Not there. Adams fighting for it. Goes back up and scores.
In the zone, you cannot allow the offensive rebound. They force the shot from the baseline for Tyra White. She misses the shot. Should be over Oklahoma State possession, but instead Adams gets the offensive board.
Riley off the dribble. Again, no.
Got all the way to the rim that time and not able to score. That is not a good sign for Oklahoma State.
A lob for Adams. Adams on the block.
She is such a load defensively to try to defend. We just saw her on the last play muscle and get that offensive board. That time she gets position. Big, powerful drop step. Nobody stopping her for Oklahoma State.
Adams 3 of 4, 7 points. Cunningham other end, no. And Adams there to clear.
1 and done for Oklahoma State, and A&M off to the races.
Pratcher travels. A&M going deep in the bench early on. Pratcher in there as well as Skylar Collins. A&M leads 15-4. First half. Tyra White on the baseline. Couldn't hit, but Adams going to work. Scores. 8 minutes in, 11-point advantage for Texas A&M, and a quick start for Danielle Adams.
Danielle Adams, the preseason Big 12 newcomer of the year, has showed why today in the early going. Battling on the boards, powering up inside, the great position, the strong drop step to the basket. Earlier in the game, she trailed the play, showing her versatility and her ability to hit the three-point shot as well. She was originally recruited and signed by Missouri out of high school, but she did not have the grades and went the junior college route. And then she was voted the Junior College Player of the Year last year as a sophomore and the newcomer of the year in the Big 12, and decided to come to A&M because she thought it would give her the best chance to get ready to play for the next level.
And you mentioned the versatility. Only 28% beyond the arc, but she'll keep jacking it. She's had a lot of success in the past from three-point distance.
A&M has been so tough defensively here early. Carter on the ball for Riley. Everybody else denying the passing lanes. Andrea Riley 0 of 7 to get started here.
Garrison leaves it for Robinson. Right at the shot clock buzzer, and it is a violation. Another turnover on the Cowgirls.
What A&M is doing is they are keeping Andrea Riley in front, and they are denying hard anybody else. And so anytime there's a ball screen, they're helping out, they're hedging out, but they're not allowing them to get into any kind of offense because Riley can't even give the ball to anybody because of the denial defense.
Kick out for Colson. She elevates off the heel, offensive board. Well, we showed you the turnover numbers. Oklahoma State #1 in the conference and one of the best in the country in turnovers. Only 13 a game. Tough shot from Smith. On the weak side, it's Robinson. Cunningham, a guarded shot. Byford on the glass. And a whistle here.
And that's what's going to be really important for Oklahoma State today. As I said in the keys, roll it up. The role players have to step up. A&M so good defensively at trying to take you out of what you do, and they are doing a great job on Andrea Riley and Cunningham so far. So what are the role players going to do? And players like Byford, that is a good screener, a good rebounder. She needs to be active on the boards. Robinson needs to be active, but they've got to find it. But that's not what Oklahoma State does well. They get their scoring from Cunningham and Riley. They average combined 44 points, and if they're not going to be able to score, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Cowgirls.
Riley 0 for 7 so far. Cunningham 1 of 6. 15-5 game nearing the midpoint. Here in the first half from College Station, 3-2 is Texas A&M in the league, 5-1 for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State extended that defense up to a little 1-3-1 look at first. They're back to the 2-3, but they've tried to make A&M take a lot of time in the shot clock.
Tanisha Smith pulls it. Left it on the front iron. Lakin Garrison out front for Riley.
That's exactly what Oklahoma State needs, and it was a little different look again defensively. And Oklahoma State wants A&M to have to go against the half-court defense as many times as possible because they struggle in that area. Riley gets the run out and the layup.
Offensive foul on Colson. She didn't think so.
Well, in that zone, after the shot, Riley's up top here, and she's just going to go and release. Gives a little hand out in front, breaks ahead, finally gets her first basket of the game.
Cunningham missing from outside. A foul on the rebound here, and home fans displeased with that one. Buchanan to personal, and that's 2 on her.
We saw her in the game against Oklahoma just a few weeks ago. She got a foul like that little hook she likes to use away from the ball.
How about the effort here by Colson, trying to chase it down in the corner.
Colson, a terrific leader for A&M. Hustle plays, trying to get things going offensively. Of course, Colson, the tough kid that had the knee injury, rehabbed quickly last year to get back in the lineup. She's gimping a little bit after that hustle down the court.
She plays hard for 40 minutes. Great personality as well. Riley tried to leave it for Robinson, a little bit too much pace on that pass.
Well, Riley thought she could get around Buchanan. Now that Buchanan's in the game, Buchanan was hedging out on that ball screen, so Riley felt she could get around the corner, but when the other defender came, too hard of a pass over to Robinson, she couldn't handle it.
15-7 Aggies at 9:18 in the half. Alanu on the front iron. Out of bounds to Oklahoma State.
And Gary Blair has his team doing the right things against this 2-3 zone. The places that you want to attack a 2-3 zone are that high post area and the short corner, and they've done that. They've gotten the passes to those areas. They just haven't been able to execute or hit the shots or make the good passes from those areas, and that's not their strength. They don't like to play in that half-court setting. They'd much rather get out and go.
Cowgirls just 3 of 19, and they trail by 8. Hedging out is Adams. Riley rises. And again, can't find it, but Cunningham on the rebound. Byford there as well on the offensive glass, but a turnover.
OSU battling hard on the rebounds. Cunningham couldn't get it to go. Byford commits to travel, but they know they aren't shooting well right now, and they've got to get after the boards to make something happen. But give a lot of credit right now to Sydney Carter. She is doing a fantastic job on Andrea Riley.
Riley 1 for 9. Cunningham 1 of 8. Smith off the screen. Rims out. Byford there to rebound. Riley works on Carter. This time gets around her and scores.
Riley decides not to wait. We're not going to set up an offense. I'm not going to wait for a screen. I'm just going to turn on the jets and go. A&M has not scored in the last 4 minutes because they haven't gotten their fast break going. They are relying on trying to score against this half-court defense, and that's not their strength. They've got to use their defense to create some offense, and Oklahoma State's done a better job of taking care of the basketball.
15-9 game as we go under 8 minutes. Riley runs that shot clock down to 10.
Look at Carter zoned in on Riley, getting ready for the screen. Riley, yeah, oh, that's 3. That's a Michael Jordan push that she doesn't get away with and gets the foul.
That's trouble, just as she appears to be getting it going offensively. Nice drive and finish. 3 fouls, though, for Riley. 7:41, first half. 6-point game here at Reed Arena. Andrea Riley started 0 of 8, but 2 of her last 2.
Well, she goes in a little push off with her left hand a la Michael Jordan, but Riley doesn't get away with it. You think she has the star power to get away with that, right?
You would think.
But that famous play by Michael Jordan pushing Byron Russell, he gets the shot, doesn't get the foul call. Unfortunately for Andrea Riley, she gets the foul. Now that's 3 fouls, 2 of 10 shooting, 5 turnovers. Not a good day for Andrea Riley. But she is averaging 39.7 minutes per game in Big 12 play. And now she goes to the bench with 7:41. Here's the impact that Andrea Riley's had throughout her career. 81 total wins over the course of her career. The best 4-year stretch. You have to go back a long way in the record books, back to the old Big 8 conference days. 84 wins from 87 to 91. But now all Andrea Riley can do is cheer from the bench with her 3 fouls.
And they've talked about how she just gets better and better as a teammate as well, not just on the court, but off the court as well. 78 straight double-figure scoring games. Only 4 so far here today, but she can, of course, light it up in a hurry when she's out there.
Now Oklahoma State's going to have to stick with this good defense that they've been playing. But when Adams got in earlier inside with the offensive board and with that power dribble, she was able to take it inside. So she comes back and does it again. They've got to find a way to keep it out of the hands of Danielle Adams that close to the rim.
Allie Clardy, senior reserve player off the bench to run the point for Oklahoma State. Quick turnover. Marianne Baker, the junior from Dallas.
Baker, the best energy player for A&M. She brings a spark of energy when she comes off the bench, and she has the assignment of chasing Tegan Cunningham around.
Carter defends on Clardy. Baker picks up Cunningham, and she drills one.
That's a big shot. That's the confidence that Tegan Cunningham now has as a senior. She now feels ownership in this team, along with Andrea Riley, for the success of this team. With Riley out, Cunningham has to perform.
Cunningham, in her last 2 games, averaging about 23 per. And a double-double against Missouri. Shot blocked inside by Byford. A&M stays with it, 5 to shoot. Baker heaves it with 2 seconds.
Without Sydney Colson in the game, Sydney Carter has the point guard responsibilities, and there was just no offense there at all. The good block inside by Byford, and then they just couldn't follow it up, A&M.
Clardy on the drive and draws the whistle.
We talked about the energy that Marianne Baker brings to the court. Here she is defending. She gets her hands on the ball, quickly gets out in front, steals it from Tegan Cunningham all the way to the other end. Cunningham trying to chase her down, but a nice work by Baker to get the steal. But then the very next time, Tegan Cunningham just rises up over Baker to hit that 3-pointer.
We talked about Clardy, the senior from Argyle, Texas, has battled some injuries. Hasn't played a ton throughout her career, but here she is, final year. and getting a lot of minutes here in conference play. She's played 31 minutes against Michigan State, and since that game has averaged 13 minutes per game. Adams on the turnaround, no. And a foul on the rebound.
Allie Clardy, probably no more important minutes than the minutes she's going to play right now in the last 7 minutes of the first half, coming in for Andrea Riley, trying to get Oklahoma State into offense, making sure they are doing their job defensively.
Adams from outside.
And OSU has not found an answer for Adams here. And we mentioned all the junior college players that Kirk Butke recruits for Oklahoma State, but Gary Blair gets the Junior College Player of the Year in Danielle Adams, and she's the one that's making the difference in today's matchup.
So it's a 7-point game here. The timeout at 5:26. Gary Blair's team, so much depth. They really have 9 players that they can go to offensively. They have 8 players on this team averaging 10 minutes or more.
Well, they've been able to get the scoring from Smith, from Tyra White, from Danielle Adams. Then you've got Sydney Carter as well, and Sydney Colson. So you have a lot of different contributors, and it makes Gary Blair's team more difficult to play this year because they've always been known for their great defense, but they have more offensive weapons this year. Now, the last 4 games, their offense has dropped off, and mostly because they go on the road to Oklahoma and on the road to Baylor, 2 teams that know them very well and take away their strengths. But it is something that they have much more this year than ever before, is a lot more scoring options.
Robinson in the open floor. Trying to back it out to the deck when a turnover.
And Robin's clearly not comfortable with the ball handling. She went down in a hurry, was stopped and couldn't go to the rim, and when she turned, Adams there forces the turnover.
Had that official's timeout a moment ago. They did rule it was a 2-pointer from Adams, so a 7-point game. And Oklahoma State gets it back here with 5 minutes to play.
A&M is not taking advantage of the fact that Andrea Riley is out of the game. Now here they've got a defensive opportunity to turn into offense, but this is about the only one we've seen besides the Baker layup. Other than that, they haven't gotten things going.
Steal for Adams. She has been so effective here. It'll go back Oklahoma State, but Danielle Adams making her presence felt. A&M a 9-point lead, 11 for Adams, and 11 points off turnovers here in the first half for the Aggies.
Nobody does it better than Texas A&M on turnover margin. They lead the Big 12 with a plus turnover margin of 6.2. And Oklahoma State typically takes good care of the ball, but it's usually because it's in Andrea Riley's hand. So A&M, with Andrea Riley out of the game, trying to use their defense to create some offense. They didn't let the ball get in the lane, a force. And then no Oklahoma State Cowgirls getting back in defensive transition. That's a 3-on-0 break, and A&M's going to take advantage of that every time. And that's why Kirk Butke calls the timeout. You've got to take care of the basketball. You cannot allow A&M to score in transition.
And that's that points off turnovers number that we mentioned. And a correction here, it is A&M's basketball. So another quick turnover right after that made field goal that we just showed you. And again, Adams was in the mix. White rises. Left side of the iron. Chased down again.
And Ilanu gets that rebound. She did not start today because Gary Blair said that he needs to get more rebounds from her. She gives him a second chance that time, but they can't convert.
Need a little more offense from Buchanan and Ilanu right now. Does Texas A&M. Cunningham, pull up. Rebound, Baker.
Look at Baker just off on the run, immediately on the rebound.
White's offensive foul.
You talked about how valuable the minutes that Clardy is getting are right now. She slides over, draws the charge. I don't know, she got there A little bit late, but that's a good hustle play by the senior.
Carolyn Blair Mobley, sophomore, St. Paul, Minnesota, now running the point for Kurt Budke's squad.
Blair Mobley mostly in for her defensive ability. That's why she's on this squad, not to handle the ball out front, so a lot of pressure on her right now.
Cunningham, push on Baker. Clardy, Cunningham, talk it over. A&M 23, Oklahoma State 14 deep first half. Well, it's not too early to get your tickets for the Big 12 Women's Basketball Championship. It'll be in Kansas City's historic Municipal Auditorium, March 11th through the 14th. Also in KC, March 28th and 30th, the Sprint Center will host the Kansas City Regional in the 2010 NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Make your plans now to be part of some of the best women's college basketball in the nation. For ticket info, visit Big12Sports.com. Also, you can go to Ticketmaster.com as well. 800-745-3000.
Well, A&M is one of the teams that has taken advantage of that Kansas City connection. Danielle Adams went to Lee Summit High School on the Missouri side of the state line. Tanisha Smith, Lincoln Prep High School, is in the Kansas City, Missouri School District. And Tyra White went to Hickman Mills High School, which actually in Kansas City right now, there's a lot of talk about Hickman Mills and the other school in their district merging because of all the financial troubles. But Hickman Mills may merge with Ruskin High School. But all three of those schools, or all three of those players, combined for 55% of A&M's points this year. So with all the great players in Texas, Gary Blair has three players from Kansas City that are making huge contributions this season.
They'll continue to try to work that pipeline as Adams connects.
Adams with the triple-double last week against Texas Tech. The 27 points, the rebounds, the block shots.
And 10 blocks in that game. That's an area, it's like Brittany Griner these days. That's a three-pointer for Adams.
And the officials are going over to see if she was on the line or not. She got such a quick release.
Yeah. How about when you can get that 6'1" junior with you know, that body that can bang it around inside, and then she brings the defender out there.
She is such a versatile player, and we've seen her just have her way down around the rim. She's gotten the offensive board. She's posted up against the zone defense, but now we've seen a couple of three-pointers and another perimeter jumper. Danielle Adams showing off her versatility right now for A&M. If it wouldn't be for her, we'd have a much closer ball game because the rest of the A&M offense pretty stagnant.
It was a three. The lead is a dozen for A&M. Clardy spins on White. High off the glass for Allie Clardy.
How about that? Clardy going to work.
I love it. Late stages of your career, you've been a program player, one of those players that chips in when needed, but doesn't get huge stats, and here she is playing very important minutes. By the way, her assist to turnover, 2.6 to 1. Adams on the baseline this time.
Adams is in a zone right now. She is so smooth when she touches the basketball. She's going up so quickly. Oklahoma State has got to find a way not to allow her to get the ball.
Over it back here. Garrison, another turnover. This Cowgirl team, only 13 turnovers a game, 12 already.
Well, and Riley was turning it over when she was in, but there's Adams sneaking in behind that zone in the short corner of the zone. And Oklahoma State has to be much more aware of where she is. But you're right, the turnovers, Andrea Riley was turning it over when she was in the game, but the rest of the team has. Give A&M the credit for the pressure defensively and the denial that they're doing right now, or today in today's game, and that's what they're known for.
28-16. Cunningham will pick and roll for Robinson. Tough shot, fade away, Robinson.
She had to work for that. Had to work to get the basketball in the pass, had to work to get the shot up. They're hanging with Riley on the bench since the 7-14 mark. But it's Adams that has been doing the bulk of the scoring for A&M.
Again, they tried to feed her inside, and again, the pass is errant. Robinson. Byford on the glass. Robinson, loose ball, scores.
Gary Blair with a timeout. He has got to be upset right now. When you've got Andrea Riley on the bench and you cannot extend the lead in this situation, and the only offense you're getting is from Danielle Adams, that is not a good situation. You can see Vic Schaefer in the back just wringing his forehead at this point. The turnover, the bad pass inside Adams, and then Garrison. Watch her keep her head up. Precious Robinson running the court on the right side. Doesn't get the initial, but Byford keeps it alive, and Robinson goes up. Robinson has gone to work. We saw her on the pick and roll play previously. She just takes advantage of Oklahoma State keeping the basketball alive. Oklahoma State scrapping and clawing for everything they can possibly get right now just to hang in the game until they can get Riley back on the court, and that's why they've been able to hang, is because of the points in the paint they have been able to get, especially here in the last few moments.
14-12 now. That number is tightened up. They rotate it for Smith. Colson, not there. Out of bounds for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State did not allow Danielle Adams to touch the basketball on that play.
28-20. Kurt Putke has to be pleased to continue to be able to sit Riley with those 3 fouls and be within single digits here. Byford turnaround. Too strong. Cunningham fights for the board.
Another offensive possession for Oklahoma State.
Lob for Byford, lost the handle, stays with the Cowgirls. At 50 seconds in the half, in an 8-point game. Offensive rebound, Cowgirls by 2 in that department. Clardy inbounds for Cunningham. Quick release, off the mark. And the rebound for Sierra Wyndham. Gary Blair has got very deep into his bench here in the first half. Baseline Adams, little heat check, not there. Another steal for Texas A&M. Shot clock off, 20 seconds left first half. Texas A&M by 8.
A&M could use a score here to get some momentum going into the halftime. Watch him to try to get it to Adams if possible.
Smith down the baseline and a blocking foul with 3.8. Byford picks it up, her second personal. Smith trying to create the action. A&M needs a bucket. And some points here in the worst way as she attacked. Physical play between those two as Byford crashed hard to the floor.
And Gary Blair turned around, went to his bench knowing there's 3.8 seconds left. He's got to get some defensive players into the game. But the foul was called before the shot.
Officials discussed it. Now Gary Blair wants an explanation. He thought Smith should have been at the stripe. So it's an 8-point game here. Oklahoma State, despite having to send their top player Riley to the bench and shooting just 27%, only down 28-20.
Well, and Blair went and made a defensive substitution because he thought they were shooting the free throws, and he took Adams out of the game.
Baker for Smith. Got to lift it at the buzzer. Off the mark. Halftime here in College Station. Big 12 women's hoops, Kurt Butke. His team goes to the locker room down 8, but feeling fortunate because Riley has 3 fouls, and they could not find it at the offensive end. 28-20, and Brenda is standing by.
Gary, I know you have to be frustrated. You get 3 fouls on Andrea Riley and you can't extend the lead. What are you going to talk about at halftime to get this thing back under control?
They got back in it by offensive boards late in the game. Tanisha's not blocking out. Demetria's not playing smart on turning the ball over. And we were relying on the jump shot. We've got to force it inside. I don't care who they got inside. We got to force it in, draw some easy fouls instead of always living and dying on the jump shot. Our transition is good. We're making a miss, but we're not converting on the other end. Everything's coming hard to us on offense. We're running, got some decent looks. Danielle's made a couple of shots, but we've got some other kids here on scholarship too.
Yeah, they are not performing as well as Danielle Adams. I'll let you go talk to him at halftime. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Adams did have 16 in the first half. It's an 8-point game. Coming up at halftime, Sydney Colson, Demetria Buchanan, special feature.
Back in College Station, Texas A&M up 28-20 over Oklahoma State. I'm here with Kurt Budke of Oklahoma State and with Andrea Riley going out with 3 fouls with over 7 minutes left. You have to be pleased to stay in the game. Now, what's it going to take to win this ball game on the road?
Well, I'm really, really proud of the girls for hanging in there and giving us a chance to stay in this game. We just got to make shots. A&M forces you into quick shots, tough shots, and we couldn't have played any worse offensively in the first half. We feel we got a chance if we can come out and make some right away.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Kurt.
We get set for the start of the second half. 8-point lead, Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. And how about our first half stats?
Well, certainly a defensive battle as we saw play out. The Oklahoma State rebounds were huge to keep them in the ball game. They've turned the ball over both teams too much, and A&M has scored in transition, but we've talked a lot about the fact they haven't been able to score against the zone defensive looks of Oklahoma State. But now you've got Andrea Riley back in the game if you're Oklahoma State, and she can get you in a game in a hurry.
Oklahoma State starts with the first possession here in the second half. Shot poorly in the first half. Riley's out there. Gets the high screen, shoots, left it short. Sydney Carter on the rebound, runs the break for A&M. Adams, good position inside. Goes to work, misses. Byford rips it away for OSU.
Good pickup by Tyra White to make sure somebody is matching up with Andrea Riley.
Adams hedges out and gets called for the block.
Now, that's a tough chore for any big to get out on Andrea Riley. They set so many on-ball screens for her, and Adams gets caught for the foul here. The leading scorers, these are the only scorers in the first half. And Precious Robinson leading the way, only averaging 8 points a game on the year for Oklahoma State. Danielle Adams, the only player in double figures for A&M.
Cunningham. Good start for OSU.
Oklahoma State's done everything they've needed to do to hang in this game, and now they've got Riley back on the court.
And if you can get Cunningham to heat up. Good position inside. Alani, no. Adams, yes.
Good position by Adams. Uses her strength, keeps the ball up high, takes care of business.
Adams with 18 on 8 of 12 from the floor.
Now, these two teams, after this battle, Oklahoma State goes to Nebraska, undefeated, 19-0, and then A&M goes to Nebraska. So both these teams are going to head up to Lincoln this week.
Not an easy chore these days. Adams in rhythm.
Inside, outside. Outside, inside. Danielle Adams is in a zone.
21 for Adams on 9 of 13.
And that's the one thing that's going to get her out of this game, and Oklahoma State's going to keep doing it. Whoever Danielle Adams is defending, who's Byford, is going to set the on-ball screen. Here's the three, the setup in transition. Adams just trailed the play, stayed open. Oklahoma State didn't recognize it. And then on the other end, it's Byford setting the screen, and then the bump out by Danielle Adams, and that sends her to the bench with the foul trouble.
And so the chess match continues. Gary Blair, Kurt Budke, Riley hits.
And over a tough defender in Sydney Carter, who's done a terrific job on Riley all day. But Riley got in there and got into a range of about 16 feet for an easy jumper.
White, you bet.
Well, Gary Blair wasn't happy about A&M settling for jumpers in the first half. When you can hit those short, easy jumpers, it's a good thing against that zone.
Riley with the take.
Riley so good getting around defenders, and she had enough time to rest on the first half. She's not used to all that rest.
She only played 12 minutes.
Her legs are springy and ready to go.
How about this? She only scored 4 points, played 12 minutes, 5 turnovers, no assists. So you know it's going to come at some point, the production.
Well, she is #1 in the Big 12 Conference in scoring and on pace to become the all-time leading scorer, even over Courtney Paris, if she stays on this pace.
Carter the runner, 10-point A&M advantage. Riley pops, rims out, Byford.
Robinson tried to get her hand on the ball on the offensive board. That's the job of Precious Robinson and Megan Byford, is to get in there and get the offensive board. They just couldn't corral at that time.
So it's 37-27. Smith slips to the bucket, kick out Carter. And Carter to the wood.
We talked earlier about Andrea Riley climbing up the charts in the Big 12 Conference. Very close to overtaking Sophia Young. We thought if she had her typical day today with 33 points, she'd get past, but maybe not today. But Courtney Paris and the all-time scoring record in Big 12 Conference history is within her reach if she stays at her 26 points per game clip.
Kurt Budke told us she loves, I should say, playing in this environment at Texas A&M. She's just 1 in 6 all time against the Aggies. Smith, defender in the air, pops and misses. Out of bounds to Oklahoma State.
Well, the last couple of possessions we saw A&M hit the jumpers. Tyra White hit a jumper, and then Carter hit a jumper. Smith misses the jumper, though, and that's what Gary Blair's concerned about, is settling for the perimeter jumpers against this defense.
Garrison on the dribble, and how about Lakin Garrison? Solid 3-point shooter. 7 points a game, has yet to hoist a shot today. Under 16 timeout, 10-point game. 37-27 Aggies. Take you back to 2008, January 19th. Oklahoma State, Texas A&M. Former President George H.W. Bush in attendance. 4 Aggies in double figures. Takia Starks had 16. The Cowgirls scored the last 12 points of the game, topped by Andrea Riley's long three-pointer with 6.6 seconds left in the game. Mark Neely and Debbie Antonelli with the call.
Now at 10.
You got to shoot it with time for an offensive rebound.
Riley! Huge three with 6.6 to go. Timeout.
Are you kidding me?
29 points, 5 three-pointers for Riley. So good at the finish as she has been so many times.
Well, that was the year those two teams end up matching up in the Big 12 Conference Championship as well. And Andrea Riley has become the all-time leading scorer in Oklahoma State history. Look at those names that she has surpassed on that historical list. But she has said over and over, it's not the points. She doesn't care about being the all-time leading scorer, even in the Big 12 Conference. She wants to win a Big 12 championship.
Kick out for Carter. Back iron, chased down by Lakin Garrison. Riley behind the back for Cunningham. And back to the Aggies. And a blocking foul on Oklahoma State. And it's Garrison. Garrison has not been a factor in this game for the Cowgirls, and she checks out here in favor of Clardy.
Well, we were told by Kurt Budke that we'd probably see 5 different defensive looks, but they've really stayed with that 2-3 zone. They've extended it a little bit for a 1-3-1 look, but the 2-3 has been effective, except they allow an easy shot against the inbounds play there. Tyra
White was 6. Cunningham step back front iron. Cunningham again inside, no. And Cunningham trying to rip it free of Alanu.
Cunningham tried to follow it up with the offensive board, couldn't put it back in. Gary Blair was worried about Cunningham going off for more than her average. She averages 18 points a game. They've held her to 3 of 15 shooting today. Only 8 points. Riley only has 8 points, so they've combined for 16 when they typically combine for 44 points together. So A&M has done the job defensively.
Smith called for the travel. Well, and to that point, combining for 7 of 30 from the field as Oklahoma State still under 30% shooting. And still this thing is very manageable, especially when you have Riley out there.
Well, and I talked to Kurt Buttke off camera before we interviewed him at halftime. He said, I am just so pleased to be here at A&M and play so poorly and still be within striking distance. I'm pleased the way my team has fought back.
Riley in the air, no. Weak side, Cunningham couldn't finish. Young got blocked. Riley again, nice inside.
Riley ripped it away from her own teammate. She was mad that she missed that easy shot up over the basket. And yeah, you do not want to see Andrea Riley in a place where she is feeling challenged to score, because she's going to find a way to create her baskets.
Hard contact on Alanu, and let's go back to that last sequence.
Well, the pass over, she had the chance to tip it up, but too much. And the good work on the offensive boards, and then we saw her, Riley, just ripping it out of her teammates' hands, and I'm just going to go score. Go take care of business. And watch out. If Riley starts stringing them together, and we've seen it over and over throughout her career, she can string together so many points. She can accelerate to the rim. She can hit the mid-range jumper. She can hit the threes. And she's missed so many in this game. You've got to think that she's due to put a bunch together.
Oklahoma State fans can rest easy. She is in double figures now for the 79th straight time. As Alanu has it rattle out. A rebound for Lindsey Keller. And Clardy now runs the point here for Oklahoma State. Cunningham out of bounds, stays with the Cowgirls.
Cunningham has been frustrated. She's being defended by Marianne Baker right now. She was defended by Tanisha Smith earlier. And Kurt Buttke talked to us before the game. We've got to find a way to get Cunningham her points in this game.
Riley rises. Cunningham fighting for it. Baker tracks it down.
One 3-1 look from Oklahoma State.
Shot clock at 10. Tyra White now at 5. White pulls the trigger. Tyra White now with 8. A&M back up by a dozen. Nearly 7 minutes deep, second half, and another turnover. Number 16 on OSU. They came in averaging 13. Riley now. As you look at the turnover numbers, Riley with still 0 assists.
A&M's only 2 losses in Big 12 play are at Oklahoma, that we saw on FSN a couple of weeks ago, and then at Baylor earlier this week. In both those games, Oklahoma and Baylor did a great job of keeping A&M out of the paint. And that's the formula Oklahoma State is following today. It's effective, but A&M's defense has been so strong and shutting down, forcing the turnovers, shutting down the tandem of Riley and Cunningham.
And that's, as you alluded to it early in this game, that's the calling card for A&M, and it's just the fact that they added so much around it. Probably not going to get to that 80-point mark that they had been scoring in non-conference here today, but as Gary Blair said on the phone yesterday, that's just Part of playing in the Big 12. Everybody focused on that half-court defense, making you settle down and uglying things up a little bit, so to speak. Riley off the bounce and a whistle.
Well, you think about it, we talk about all the time how tough the Big 12 conference is, but Oklahoma State is in a stretch right now where they are playing the 8th-rated team in the country in Texas A&M. And then they go on the road this Wednesday and they go to Lincoln, where Nebraska is 6th ranked in the AP poll. And then they come home and play Oklahoma, who's rated 11th. So you've got 3 teams in the top 11 in the country that you're playing in a stretch. And as you look at their record, Oklahoma State is 4-0 against the North, but the 2 that they have left are Iowa State and Nebraska, both ranked teams. And of the 8 that they have left in the South, 6 of those games will be against ranked teams. So all but 2 of their games remaining in Big 12 play will be against top 20 ranked opponents if things hold in the rankings as they are now.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Carter with a strip and a foul here as A&M tried to get a run out. 43-31, 12:27 to go in the game. Byford and Riley each with 3 fouls here for Oklahoma State now. Adams with 3 for A&M.
Gary Blair knew in going to Baylor that he probably would see Melissa Jones. And Baylor has struggled without her in the lineup, but she was back in the lineup and made all the difference in the world in that victory, getting Baylor back on track.
Riley again creates and draws the whistle, and she'll go to the stripe here.
Riley, such a creator. Crosses 2 different directions. She's so explosive with the basketball. She is so difficult to defend. You just can't defend her one-on-one, and that's where A&M has been so good today. Is they've brought the hedge on the on-ball screens. They brought the help defense when needed. They've kept her out in front, and Sydney Carter's done as good a job as anybody keeping Andrea Riley out in front, forcing her to take those outside shots, but she just sliced in there and drew the foul this past time.
43-33, Riley now with 14 points, but to your point, she's been held to 5 of 18 from the field. As we go under 12 minutes, White gets the high screen, 1 more pass, and that's probably too many in that instance.
Now, she has had double figures the last 3 games in a row, but she seems frustrated today.
11:53 to play. We're at Reed Arena in College Station. Big 12 clash, pair of top 15 teams. Texas A&M at home, a 10-point lead. They continue to keep OSU at arm's length. Here in the final weekend in January.
Well, Nebraska remains undefeated, 19-0. Best ever start for a Big 12 conference team. Kelsey Griffin with 24 points, Dominique Kelly with 18 in that game in Boulder. And Kansas was able to go on the road and get a win. Missouri, another heartbreaking loss. The freshman Carolyn Davis for Kansas, 20 points and 9 rebounds in that game. And then Oklahoma gave Texas Tech another heartbreaking loss. Danielle Robinson, 24 points and 5 assists. Danielle Robinson crossed the 450 career assist mark in that game, and that lines up the Big 12 standings. You see Iowa State is going to Kansas State today, and then later on Baylor will go to Texas. And as I mentioned earlier, both Oklahoma State and A&M, the matchup today, both these 2 teams will travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to try to take a crack at Kelsey Griffin and the Huskers.
Colson backs it out for A&M and now goes to work, kick out Baker. They rotate it for Carter. And the Aggies will be patient here. Pass never got through. Robinson the steal. Riley goes against Baker and crashes hard. Second foul on Baker. Team foul number 5 here on A&M in the second half. Adrian Cratcher back in here for A&M as Colson gets a seat Riley inbounds. Pick and roll. Rashara Riley took an extra step.
Well, A&M 8-0 at home this year. Their only loss is on the road at TCU, who's doing well in the Mountain West Conference right now. And of course at Oklahoma and at Baylor. But they are getting all they can handle. Oklahoma State just making it ugly, making them work for everything here on the offensive end. That's a nice pass.
Fratcher to Asarian. And it's 45-33.
And that's the formula against the zone defense. You have to attack, draw the defenders, find somebody open, create mismatches. And there's just not been enough of that aggressively attacking the zone defense from A&M.
Cunningham flashes out, nearing midpoint second half. Yes, Cunningham hits.
She has such a smooth release. She has had somebody in her face the entire day today, but she's still 3 of 7 from three-point range. Even though she's not shooting well overall, 3 of 7 from three-point range.
She keeps jacking it. White trying to turn the corner. And Robinson rips it away. Riley, pull up. Got it.
Oklahoma State just hanging around, hanging around. They went on the road. We were with them last week at Colorado. They stretched it out in the second half.
Just like that, it goes from a 12-point game down to 7. Asarian turns and finishes off the window.
See, a couple of well-executed plays for A&M to get inside.
Riley up on him in a hurry. Baker on the weak side. Carter to the glass. And she's at the stripe.
Well, Oklahoma, Tegan Cunningham against Marianne Baker, pulls up for the 3. And then after a defensive stop, they're able to get down in transition, pull up for the jumper, Andrea Riley. The highest scoring combination in all of college basketball. Andrea Riley, Tegan Cunningham. They've been held pretty much in check overall, but they have that ability to score. So as A&M is substituting in and out and trying to find a combination that can score, they can try to get some offense. They've also got to stay true to what they do so well defensively and keep locked down on Riley and Cunningham.
Carter the free throw here. A&M back up by 11. Nifty work by Clardy. Bounce pass Cunningham. And the blocking foul on Asarian.
What a pretty pass from Clardy. Keeping the dribble going. You talked about it before. She's a senior. She's been a role player throughout her time. But she drives in and then lays this nice bounce pass backdoor to Cunningham. Good work by Clardy. She got those valuable minutes in the first half. Andrea Riley had 3 fouls with 7:14 to go in the first half. Clardy came in, had to play the point guard position. And she just took care of business. And that time they put the ball in her hands. They put Andrea Riley on the right side, and Clardy dribbled in and hit the back door to Cunningham.
Cunningham, 1 of 2 at the line today. Make it 2 of 3 now. Only 4 of 18 from the field, but in double figures she has 13, 9:19 to play. And considering the things that have gone wrong in this game for Oklahoma State, again, trailed by 8 at the break. Again, it's manageable here as we hit the midpoint, down 9.
If you're on the road, you just want to give yourself a chance to be in the game at the end, and that's exactly what Oklahoma State has done.
We invite you to join Fox Sports Net to help the people of Haiti recover from the devastating earthquake that hit their country. To make a $10 donation to the Red Cross relief efforts, please text the word Haiti to 90999. A $10 donation will be added to your phone bill. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Look at Gary Blair's huddle. 49-40. A&M has shot 43% in this game, 4 of 11 beyond the arc. Rebounding numbers, they trail 35-29 in that department. They're trying to get a nice home win here and go to 4-2 in the Big 12.
Oh, and it doesn't get any easier. The Big 12, the #1 conference in the country, the only team, or the only conference in the nation that has 7 teams in the top 30 in RPI. And this is the NCAA RPI. And it's not the only factor in determining NCAA seeds and so forth, but it's the only conference in the country that has 7 teams in the top 30. And then you look, of all the conference teams, Kansas State with the lowest RPI at 89, when you have to play teams in the top 90, night in and night out, there are no games off in the Big 12 conference. And Nebraska, with what it's been able to do with Connie Uri building that squad and Kelsey Griffin having an All-American year, and then the strength of schedule, what the NCAA RPI does is it takes your schedule, your opponent's schedule, and your opponent's schedule. And it shows your strength of schedule, and then you get into Big 12 play, and you play all these ranked teams night in and night out. Right now, we've got, in the Big 12, 6 teams in the top 15, the top 20 in rankings in the Big 12 conference.
And even with Colorado and K-State there in the 80s, you're talking about 334 teams.
Right.
That get ranked in the RPI. So it's...
Well, we look at those numbers every year, and there's always been at least one of the Big 12 teams that's been over 100. I mean, to have all 12 teams, every single team in the conference within that top 90, and the real weight of it being in the top 30, it's amazing. And then you think about, okay, Kansas State's 89, but who wants to go into Manhattan, Kansas and play against Deb Patterson's team and what they've been able to do there? And Iowa State is in Manhattan this afternoon.
White pulls it, rattles off, rebound Cunningham, up ahead for Clardy. Cunningham, front iron. Asarian gets fouled on the rebound. Keller picks it up. And now A&M is in the bonus. Team foul 7 hits here with 8:42 to play.
A&M didn't get in the bonus, remarkably, in the first half. Andrew Riley had 3 fouls, but when Tanisha Smith was fouled on that last play with 3 seconds to go, the team only had 5 fouls total. So she doesn't even get to go to the free throw line right before halftime for A&M because they're not in the bonus. So it makes a difference now. They're in the bonus with just under 9 minutes to play. So if you're Oklahoma State, you have to be a lot more careful about how you're playing defense.
33 Megan Byford returns for OSU.
Byford back in. She's got 3 personals. Keller sits down with 2. The lead is 10 as Asarian steps up, 45% foul shooter. Riley works on Carter. Riley, yes.
Carter has played good defense throughout, but she got stood up that time. She was anticipating where Riley was going to go, and Riley just stopped so quickly.
Carter trying to answer.
That's a nice answer after playing defense so hard all day long. It's good to be able to answer back with your own jump shot.
52-42, 8 minutes to play from College Station.
Nice screening to get Cunningham that look. Excellent.
Splashes a 3-pointer.
Cunningham working off the baseline screen. She had all day for that shot, and that's because Megan Byford leveled a terrific screen on the baseline.
A block. No, it's an offensive foul. Carter got whistled. Gary Blair confused. Take another look as we get a break here at Reed Arena. Carter, Clardy, offensive foul, 7-point game.
Back in College Station where A&M hanging on to a 7-point lead, and Tegan Cunningham has 4 3-pointers. Here's how they set her up. Precious Robinson sets a screen right here. Megan Byford is going to set a screen right here. And watch Tegan Cunningham as she comes off those screens. And really watch this screen right here by Megan Byford as she levels the defensive player who's switching. And it leaves Tegan Cunningham wide open. Easy pass, easy decision for Riley to make, and an easy shot for Cunningham. And their points are starting to come now. They're combined the top scoring tandem in the country. And Tegan Cunningham, that was really Kurt Butke's concern. Can she get her points against this athletic A&M squad? And she has 4 3-pointers on the afternoon and has been a big part of the second half.
Rare to see Cunningham at 5 of 20 from the field, shoots 50% for the year, 43% on 3-pointers, and she's starting to heat up a little bit here, and the lead is down to 7. Riley turns the corner, blocks.
Boy, that is great help defense by Ilanu, because that was a staggered double on-ball screen for Riley. She had turned the corner and she had daylight in front, but Adora Ilanu was able to get the block.
Cunningham steps back.
Another. She has faced several defenders for A&M, and now she is red hot from long distance, and A&M has got to get there and not allow her to catch that basketball.
Turnover, Cowgirls down 5. And Cunningham lost the handle. Pass just a little bit too far in front. Tanisha Smith checks back in favor of Pratchett. "19 turnovers, and yet OSU within 5.
It's just amazing. I mean, A&M has caused them some problems, but they get Danielle Adams back in the game now. She was so in a zone offensively. Let's see if she still is after time on the bench. Yeah, it did not stop her at all.
Heat check right off the bench. How hot is she still? And we got our answer.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State has to know she's back in the game. Somebody pick her up. She was way too wide open.
55-47 Riley. Money for Andrea Riley.
Watch out. This is going to be fun. This last 6:25, a chess match. Playmaking guards on both sides. And she is again, this time better recovery that time by the Oklahoma State defense.
Carter. Clardy. You bet.
Riley is so excited that she set up that shot. She's number 3 in the country in assists. We talk so much about her scoring, but she loves to set up her teammates, and especially Clardy, who's been with her for 4 years at Oak State.
Smith, good feed. The finish wouldn't go down for Adams.
It's one of the few misses by Adams. She's 4 of 4 from 3-point range, 10 of 15 overall. She missed it underneath, but Ilanu doing what she's supposed to do. Gary Blair mentioned to me yesterday when he talked to me that we need more rebounding out of Ilanu.
Came in averaging 3.4 rebounds to go with nearly 8 points. The Nets on the first. Lead back to 3. Cunningham was whistled for that foul, her second.
Her brother played for A&M, now playing professionally.
He left college a little bit early to go overseas. Second free throw, so Ilanu gets them both. The sophomore from Houston, Texas. The lead is 4 for Texas A&M. Push away from the basketball.
Tony Young got called for the foul against Carter, setting the screen. Riley was so wide open because Tony Young knocked her to the ground. Here's Andrea Riley. She's going to go through, watch the screen, and just clocks Sydney Carter as she comes through the lane. A little too much arm, moves her body. That's a big mistake by the freshman to get that foul because Riley doesn't need a lot of room for the shot.
Tyra White rattles out. Riley. Smith fighting with Cunningham. And Cunningham pleads her case.
Oklahoma State's battling on the boards. They're trying to make it happen. They're giving themselves every opportunity here on the road, but they couldn't get that one.
The Aggies, credit them. They have withstood every challenge from OSU here today. They've gotten buckets when they've needed them most.
Much standing.
Stays with A&M, 10 on the shot clock.
They're trying to get the ball into Danielle Adams, but better defense that time by Oklahoma State not to let it inside, but no defense at all that time. She got way too good of a look. Crawls
out, White on the glass. She got pushed. Byford will pick up number 4.
Byford has a big scratch on her chin.
It's been a little bit physical here in this second half. Either that or a lot bit physical.
As you would expect between these two teams.
Both coaches, you got the feeling they were excited about this opportunity. Final day here in January. Turn that calendar, and as we get deeper and deeper, obviously they become more and more important. And this, as you've talked about, is such a tough stretch, particularly here for Oklahoma State, coming in second in the conference here today. A&M 5th in the Big 12, coming in 3-2 record, and the Aggies have stretched it back to a half dozen. Riley. Cunningham. Riley again.
Riley was not going to be denied that time, and you can see right now Andrea Riley and Tegan Cunningham are taking over this game offensively for Oklahoma State. Riley did not give up on the play. She stayed with it till she got the offensive board and put back.
It's a 14-7 Cowgirl run. Adams flashes out. Right side of the iron, Cunningham corrals it. Kick out Clardy, hit one a moment ago. Backs it out this time. Riley against White. Riley from way downtown. Gets her own rebound. Stick back. Riley is fired up.
She doesn't make the huge three-pointer like she often does, but look at the offensive board and put back by Andrea Riley. Not giving up on the play, hustling after the offensive board, putting it back to draw Oklahoma State within 2 and a trip to the free throw line.
The Aggie lead at halftime was 8. With 3.5 to play, the lead is at 2. And Oklahoma State on fire in the last few minutes.
Been the leading scoring tandem in the country. Andrea Riley and Tegan Cunningham have taken over this game in the second half on the road. The two seniors, Cunningham with the shots from the perimeter. She had 4 3-pointers on the game. Andrea Riley kicked it out. The only basket of the second half not scored by Riley or Cunningham was that one by Clardy. And then the offensive board and put back and one for Andrea Riley. We'll come out of this timeout with a free throw attempt for Riley to close within 1. But look at this. Second half scoring combined, Riley and Cunningham, 35 of the 37 points for the Cowgirls in the second half. It's not a surprise. They are the ones that lead the way. But the fact that they've done this against an A&M defense that was so stingy in the first half is remarkable. And Kurt Butke was pleased where his team was at halftime. He has to be very pleased where they are right now. But Gary Blair's had to make some substitutions here in the second half to try to find some offense against this zone defense. They've had Danielle Adams out with the foul trouble. They haven't been able to find the right combination. And then this group has not defended as well in the second half.
The A&M lead is now at 1. We'll stay with the basketball here. 3:24 left. Smith, step back.
Gary Blair is yelling penetrate, dribble, drive against the zone. I know he's frustrated by this. That's what he told me at halftime. We have got to attack the zone defense, and they have just continued to settle for jumpers.
A chance for the Cowgirls to go in front. Clock winds under 3 minutes. Clardy. Cunningham on the boards.
They miss a shot, and Cunningham gets the rebound. You gotta like Oklahoma State's chances here with Riley with the ball in her hands, her ability to create. She got blocked as she went up. Right at you. Carter gets her hands on the ball. Riley still able to try to get the ball up at the rim.
It should be Oklahoma State basketball. Gary Blair getting the explanation. 2.5 to play, 1-point game. Cunningham, that rebound a moment ago, now with 14 of those. That's her career high to go with 18 points. And for Cunningham, that is a double-double, number 6 on the season.
A&M's numbers have been so much better this year offensively. But since they've gotten into Big 12 competition, Oklahoma, Baylor have been tough defensively. They were 79 points a game, and they still are. That number has dropped. But the last 4 games, their numbers are down 15 points a game because of the Big 12 teams knowing each other so well, because they aren't able to get their defense to create offense nearly as often. We saw that in the first half. A&M was able to get some defense and score in transition. But here in the second half, they haven't been able to score that way, and their offense has been stymied against the zone of Oklahoma State.
Knifing through Riley. Aggie basketball. So when you consider the things that haven't gone well now for A&M in the second half, they got to feel okay about a 1-point lead.
I'm not sure they feel okay right now. But you're right. I mean, they haven't played well. They can play so much better, but they've got to do that right there. They've got to get on the boards. They've got to get inside this Oklahoma State defense, and they just haven't been able to do that here in the second half.
They've got the lead with 2:03 to play. Clardy closes out on Carter.
Oklahoma State trying to keep an eye on where Danielle Adams is in the zone.
Carter hangs and scores. A&M with a big bucket to go back up by 3.
Huge shot by Sydney Carter. That is a huge shot by the sophomore.
What can Riley counter with? Riley, yes sir!
Ties it up. 1-on-1. Riley plays with such confidence. Sees Carter is giving her just a little bit of room.
Adams had it stripped by Riley. Cowgirls. Robinson. Cowgirls in front. First lead of the game for Oklahoma State. Timeout, Gary Blair.
Well, you knew A&M would try to get the ball into Danielle Adams. Oklahoma State has tried to keep it out of her hands here in the second half, or not even allow her to get it. But as soon as she got it on that last possession, Riley goes in and strips the basketball and heads to the other end of the court. The zone defensive looks for Oklahoma State have caused A&M problems, but look first, just the raise up, just a little bit of room. Andrea Riley understanding the Carter's off, and then as the ball goes inside to Adams, Riley strips the basketball away and then goes down Good hustle by Smith, but nobody else there to get the rebound. And Precious Robinson, a tremendous rebounder for Oklahoma State, cleans it up. Robinson only with 6 rebounds today, but none bigger than that.
And you look up, she has 29. After 4 in the first half, 16 times in her career she's gone for 30 points or more. Under a minute, 63-61, Cowgirls.
If Oklahoma State can pull this off, this would be such a huge win for the Cowgirls.
Flaherty gets fouled, picked up by Alanu.
Remember, Texas A&M is 8-0 at home. They have won all of their home games this year. Their only losses have been on the road. But Gary Blair's squad has been so frustrated against the zone defensive looks by Oklahoma State today.
Adams, the rebound. A&M with 38 seconds. White in the corner, air ball. Robinson for OSU, and the foul. Was that shot partially blocked off the hand of White?
I don't think so.
Tough shot.
I think White earlier just was hesitant, didn't know if she should shoot or not. You have to wonder if it's going through her head. Doesn't look like it's blocked.
You were right on that. That shot just way off the mark.
And no offensive rebounders in position for A&M.
Well, Adams commits the foul. It's her 4th. You see, essentially, it's identical between shot and game clock here, with a 2-point OSU advantage.
Kurt Butke drawing up the play. He knows he'll see the full court pressure. The most important thing is to get the ball inbounds. Take care of the ball, find Andrea Riley, find your sure-handed players on the court and get the ball inbounds. And A&M may not foul right away. They may come at it defensively when they pick up in full court, but they've got the opportunity here, does Oklahoma State, to stretch the lead with free throws. Coach Becky talking to his team about what they need to continue to do defensively that they've done so far all game.
Robinson, her first free throw of the day, goes down. Tony Young returns to the lineup. It can become a 2-possession game here. 30 seconds to play. Big rebounding advantage for the Cowgirls. 50-37 here today, and Robinson hits 2 big ones.
Huge free throws by Precious Robinson.
OSU can set up the defense here. Robinson in double figures with 10. Riley with 29, Cunningham with 18. Both teams double bonus. Cowgirls have the arrow. Big shots down the stretch from the senior.
25 points in the second half from Andrea Riley. Just a little bit of room against Carter. She raises up, and then the strip and the steal, and ignites the break. Doesn't hit the layup, but Precious Robinson is there to collect it and get the score to go ahead for the first time. Oklahoma State hung around all afternoon. They hung in the game when Andrea Riley had 3 fouls in the first half and was out for over 7 minutes. They hung around early in the second half as they chipped back into it and finally got Tegan Cunningham and Andrea Riley going offensively. And they played terrific defense to frustrate A&M all afternoon.
I talked about the top scorers for OSU. Flip side, Tanisha Smith, only 4 points on 2 of 10, and you've talked about that throughout the afternoon. They've got to get the production back from Tanisha Smith.
Yeah, she hasn't been able to contribute against the zone. Tyra White has been hesitant in her shot. She's 4 of 13 from the field. Danielle Adams was terrific in the first half, but she got those early fouls in the second half and went to the bench. She hit the one shot since she's been back, but offensively, A&M has been so frustrated against the zone looks Oklahoma State has on the court.
Go to Adams here. She's got 24. Colson off to Smith. Look for the pick and pop, but Cunningham closed out. Colson step back.
That can't be the look that A&M was looking for.
Oklahoma State gets the rebound. Robinson got stripped though. And the Aggies get the possession here with 13 seconds. Let's go back and look at this.
Out of bounds by Precious Robinson. She gets the rebound, but can't go anywhere with it. A&M retains possession, but a poor shot by A&M against the zone. We've talked all afternoon how they just have struggled to get the ball in the lane and score, and Colson forces up a shot, has an air ball. Gary Blair setting the play. They've got to get a quick score. Doesn't have to be a three, just a quick score, and then pressure on the end line. Struggled to find the scoring all afternoon as A&M.
Down 4, quick inbound, Smith. Smith again, sticks it in. 2-point game, 9.7 seconds.
Well, it's a good second effort by Smith because it was a great executed play to get her the ball. She has a wide open layup and misses. I mean, that really shows what kind of day it's been, but then she gets the screen and then she drives
down
to the
4,
basket,
quick inbound,
in, and then gets her own offensive board. But she has been frustrated all afternoon. And a good second effort at least, though, to get the putback and to be within 2. And then Gary Blair right away with the timeout to apply the full court pressure.
1 timeout left for the Cowgirls. A&M is done. And again, possession arrow to Oklahoma State. It's been an entertaining game here this afternoon here at Reed Arena in College Station.
It's been Andrea Riley and Tegan Cunningham on offense. It's been the zone defense of Oklahoma State, and it's been doing everything they can to come in here and have a chance to win on the road. A&M has a shot here. They want to get a steal, if possible, first. If they don't get the steal, immediate foul.
Of course, Oklahoma State will try to get it in Riley's hands, who's 5 of 5 at the line. Came in shooting 79% at the stripe.
Young, only a 57% free throw shooter. I'd like to bait them into her getting the ball, but you know Andrea Riley will do everything she can to get open.
And Carter going to have to commit the foul on Riley. 8.3, Riley to the line, and again 5 of 5 at the stripe today.
And we saw her late game heroics just 2 years ago when Oklahoma State scored the last 12 points of the game 2 years ago, and the biggest one being Riley's 3 to win it. But they didn't have as good a luck last year and were blown out here in College Station last year, but only fitting that Andrea Riley on the line here to try to put the game away, make it a 2-possession game with this free throw.
Riley with 30 points. Make it 31 and that 2-possession game. Need him in a hurry if you're A&M. Colson fires it. No. Rebound, Oklahoma State. As the buzzer sounds, Cowgirls go on the road and pull off the 4-point upset. 67-63 on Texas A&M.
Huge second half by Andrea Riley and Tegan Cunningham. What a huge win for Oklahoma State.
Kurt Budke's team improves to 18-3, 6-1 in the Big 12. In second place in the conference, Texas A&M with a loss. They have now lost 3 of their last 4 games. and they fall to 3-3 in conference play. Number 15 Oklahoma State comes on the road and wins by 4, 31 for Riley, 18 for Cunningham, 24 for Adams in the losing effort. Join us for more Big 12 women's hoops next weekend. Saturday, doubleheader, A&M and Nebraska. Then Bedlam, Oklahoma against Oklahoma State. Then Sunday, Iowa State and Missouri. Check your local listings. For Brenda Van Langen and our entire crew, Brent Stover saying so long from College Station. You've been watching